Welcome to Altnabreac Towers, Episode 5, The Boy of Ballybannon. The following episode is fiction inspired by true events. The internet is a strange place. 1 minute you're scrolling through pictures of cats in tutus. The next, a video of a driveway spat between Elizabeth Howe, Ian Thomas Appleby, some chickens, and a bewildered network rail contractor has gone viral. Somewhere between the outrage and the confusion, a comment appeared under one of the videos. The boy from Ballybannon. That innocuous sentence set off a chain reaction no one could have predicted, not least the private investigators who would soon descend upon Milford County, Carlow. It all began on the 23rd of January 2018, when Mr. David Howe purchased a property in Ballybannon for €100,000 in cash. No mortgage, no fuss. Just a very Irish transaction, executed with the sort of simplicity that would later seem almost naive. David's daughter, Detective Constable Elizabeth Howe, had already made headlines in her own right. Fired for whistleblowing, she had become reclusive, retreating into religion and obsessive organization. Her home resembled a cross between a chapel and a filing cabinet. Candles, Bibles, and labeled folders coexisted with military precision. In July 2019, David Howe passed away unexpectedly at Ballybannon. He was diabetic, and while the official report found no immediate cause for alarm, questions lingered. Insulin vials were missing. Syringes were found in bins, some used, some pristine. It's the sort of passing that makes you triple-check your own tea before drinking it, one investigator muttered, eyebrows arched. With no will, the estate fell into limbo, a vacuum that Elizabeth Howe and Ian Thomas Appleby would exploit with remarkable efficiency. Elizabeth Howe, already reclusive and grief-stricken, welcomed Ian Thomas Appleby into her life. But by Christmas Eve 2019, the plot thickened in a way no one had anticipated. Elizabeth Howe vanished without a trace. Her family and the authorities in Greater Manchester were thrown into a frantic search, scrambling to understand whether she was fleeing grief, danger, or her own increasingly erratic impulses. Sightings of a blue bubble car in the remote beauty of Glencoe added urgency and unease to the investigation. Had Ian Thomas Appleby spirited her away? Was she in trouble? Or simply hiding in dramatic protest? Investigators were confounded, and the stakes of the Ballybannon estate drama had suddenly escalated from financial intrigue to a full-blown missing person crisis. By February 2020, Elizabeth resurfaced, not in handcuffs, not broken, but back at Ballybannon, with Ian Thomas Appleby, carrying on as if nothing had happened. Their arrangement was as audacious as ever. Rent was paid only in principal, furniture, and collectibles continued to vanish, and lifestyle upgrades, including a red Toyota Land Cruiser, were maintained with no apparent income. One investigator rubbed his temples and muttered, "She disappears for weeks, and when she comes back, it's business as usual." I think the woman is cheating time itself. Her dramatic disappearance and audacious return only intensified the scrutiny on the estate. Investigators began tracing the movement of assets, the missing antiques, and the strangely undervalued property sales, all pointing to a theater of absurdity and malfeasance, orchestrated from within Ballybannon itself. The estate's chaos only escalated. Ballybannon, valued at approximately €155,000, was sold in June 2021 for a mere $10,000. Antique chairs, rare tools, and delicate glassware were liquidated in piecemeal auctions, often with no record. Life insurance and savings accounts were inconsistently reported. Premium bonds had vanished. Investigators, tired and slightly caffeinated, muttered darkly about the audacity of the scheme. At this point, one said, "We not sure if they rerunning an estate or starring in a low-budget crime comedy." By April 2021, probate was granted to Elizabeth Howe as sole executor. The letters of administration contained glaring anomalies. Wendy Margaret Howe, the ex-wife, was listed as having renounced her rights, though her daughters swore she had not. Elizabeth was recorded as the sole surviving child, completely excluding her siblings in England. Asset valuations were wildly understated, creating a legal loophole for sole inheritance. "This isn't estate management," one investigator whispered to another. "This is performance art with legal stationery." Investigators began to suspect that David Howe's passing might not have been entirely natural. Medication anomalies, missing insulin vials, rapid asset liquidation, undervalued property sales, and the exclusion of rightful heirs painted a picture that was part farce, part nightmare. Not saying foul play, a cautious investigator offered, but if it isn't, it's the best accidental crime story ever written. Siblings confirmed their suspicions, their frustration dripping from every word. We found insulin needles in the bin, and we never got anything from Dad's estate. Elizabeth was always one step ahead. It's like they rehearsed this. Another added, even if Dad's passing was natural. The way the estate was handled afterward, selling property for a tenth of its value. Ignoring our rights, it's criminally negligent at best, criminally deliberate at worst. Investigators noted the sheer efficiency of the scheme, suggesting premeditation. Assets were liquidated quietly. Probate was manipulated to ensure sole control. Beneficiaries were excluded. And apparent lifestyle upgrades coincided perfectly with access to the estate. By September 2024, Ballybannon had transformed into a stage where audacity and suspicion danced a dangerously funny waltz. Fraud, estate mismanagement, and the possibility of foul play were all on the table. Investigators from Ireland, Scotland, and England cross-examined each other in a mixture of frustration and dark amusement. Every missing antique or undervalued property sale was dissected like a scene from a tragicomic play. "I've seen con artists," one muttered, "but this is art. If only it weren't so suspicious." Documents, receipts, and bank records were scrutinized repeatedly. Each day seemed to reveal another undervalued sale, another missing asset, or another irregularity in the estate accounts. Investigators bickered, sipped coffee nervously, and jotted notes in margins as they argued whether a vintage sideboard sold for €50 or $5,000 because that one misreported figure could be the key to unraveling the entire scheme. Cross-border bureaucracy slowed their progress, the UK and Irish authorities pointing fingers at one another, making every procedural step feel like a Kafkaesque comedy. And all the while, Elizabeth Howe and Ian Thomas Appleby carried on at Station Cottage. Altnabreac, as if nothing were amiss. The couple moved like actors in a dark farce, blissfully unaware that the meticulous reconstruction of their every move had begun. The stage was set, the players were on, and the countdown to a shocking revelation had begun. Bannon's secrets carefully buried under mismanagement, undervalued sales, an unexplained death, and a dramatic disappearance were poised to explode. And the investigators knew they were only scratching the surface. Somewhere in the shadows, the faint clucking of chickens seemed almost conspiratorial, as if even the feathery residents of Station Cottage, Altnabreac, understood the absurd, darkly comedic drama unfolding around them. Thanks for watching. If you have any information, please reach out to the appropriate authorities. Be sure to subscribe for the next episode in this unfolding story.